Welcome to the deep dive. We really try to plunge into these big ideas to help you get well informed fast. And today we're tackling something that, well, it really makes you rethink where AI might be heading, its ultimate potential. We've been digging into this article, The Intelligence Optimum in AI Systems, and honestly, it throws up some really thought-provoking stuff. The main thing we want to unpack is this idea of an intelligence optimum for AI systems. Think of it like a theoretical peak, a point where an AI reaches its highest qualitative intelligence. So our mission here is to figure out what that means for the machines themselves, how it connects to maybe our own intelligence, and crucially, what it implies for the AI we're starting to interact with, well, every day now. So maybe the big question to kick us off is, could there actually be a limit to how, intelligent AI gets? Yeah. Before it just gets faster?
Yeah, it's a fascinating question, isn't it? And the article really frames it well. This intelligence optimum, it's defined as the point where a machine, and this could be, a generative AI, like a language model, or maybe a task-focused agent, or even a predictive world model,
Hmm.
where it can basically handle every kind of mental representation and manipulation needed for any task. What's really interesting, though, is the claim that beyond this optimum point, just making the model bigger,
Yeah.
adding more parameters, well, it gives diminishing qualitative returns. The only real gains you see then are, like you said, speed and efficiency.
Okay, so the core idea is that the quality of AI smarts might actually hit a ceiling. And after that, it's all about going faster, using less energy, that kind of thing. If that's true, if quality hits a wall, how do we even measure intelligence in these really advanced AIs after that point?
That's exactly it. And the article uses this really helpful analogy with graphics in video games. It makes the point that, just like our human eyes kind of stop noticing huge leaps in graphics quality after a certain point, maybe after a certain polygon count. AI might hit a similar sort of perceptual wall for us, like going from 60 triangles to 6,000. That gives you a recognizable shape, right? Clear improvement. But going from 6,000 to, say, 6 million triangles, well, for most practical uses, it doesn't look that much better. Visibly, it might make rendering smoother, maybe adds tiny details you barely see. And in the same way, an AI that's hit its optimum might not feel much more intelligent to a user, even if it technically has way more parameters under the hood.
Huh. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like buying a new TV, right?
Yeah.
After a certain resolution, the extra pixels, they don't really make a difference to my eyes
That's
anymore. So
not.
the suggestion is AI might hit that same kind of human-centric limit. Okay, so this optimum sounds like a peak. But how does the article say AI actually gets there? What are the, fundamental building blocks?
Right. It breaks intelligence down into two main things:
Yep.
representation and manipulation.
Yeah.
Representation is about holding information in a structured way, like
Yeah.
how we form concepts in our minds. And manipulation is about using that information, transforming it to solve problems, things like reasoning or planning. These are what it calls the cognitive primitives, sort of the fundamental mental tools an AI needs to master.
Yep. Okay, cognitive primitives. And this is where the comparison to humans gets really interesting, right? Because the article suggests that in humans, somewhere around an IQ of, say, 130 to 140, individuals can potentially learn any of these cognitive primitives, given enough time, the right teaching. But above that level, higher IQ mainly seems to affect speed and efficiency. It's not like someone with an IQ of 160 understands things someone with 140 absolutely cannot. It's more that they might grasp it much, much faster or handle more complex information at once. I find that connection really quite striking. So if this optimum point is a real possibility for AI, it really changes how we think about AI's ultimate limits. What would be the first sort of concrete changes we'd notice in how AI functions if it actually hit this peak?
Well, if an AI reaches this point, the implication is that all general purpose models could, in theory, have the same fundamental qualitative abilities, which means the main differences between them wouldn't be about how smart they are generally. It would be more about their specialization. Maybe one's optimized for writing fiction, another for controlling robots, and also performance metrics, speed, how much memory it uses, energy efficiency, that kind of thing. And that really raises a big question for us. What does superintelligence even mean if general intelligence kind of plateaus like that? How do we define that threshold?
That is a really interesting point, but it still feels a bit counterintuitive. Given how much focus there's been on just scaling up models, bigger equals better, does the article offer any, exceptions or caveats to this idea of diminishing returns? Could a superintelligence maybe be defined by handling completely new types of information, things beyond what we currently think of as cognitive primitives?
Yeah, it definitely touches on that. It suggests one way to think about superintelligence could be its ability to handle any cognitive primitive, including perhaps ones representing enormous abstractions. Like, imagine processing the entire history of humanity as a single conceptual object. Whoa! That's where this idea of higher order primitives comes in. Basically, new, more abstract ways of thinking and processing information, which is a massive jump from just solving existing problems faster. And what's really intriguing is the idea that maybe the main general AI doesn't even need to store or process these internally. Instead, you could have specialized hardware or maybe purpose-built AI tools that handle these specific massive tasks. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, it suggests a future that looks more like an ecosystem.
An ecosystem,
Yeah.
AI is not just one giant all-powerful brain.
Yeah.
That's a very different picture.
Yeah.
So less like Skynet, maybe more like a, I don't know, a super efficient corporate team meeting, but for AIs.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. We might see these large foundation models, the general intelligences, working alongside lots of smaller specialized agents or tools. The big AI would kind of coordinate everything, pulling in these specialized components as needed. It makes the whole system incredibly efficient and adaptable. The article draws parallels from all over: neuroscience, AI architecture itself, even fictional examples like the Guild Navigators in Dune, or maybe Marvel's Ultron. I remember wrestling with this kind of idea in my own early research work, this notion that intelligence might not just scale up infinitely in one dimension, but that it could branch out, specialize.
Okay, so the future might be one where smarter for the big general AIs mostly means faster and cheaper, while the really big leaps in capability come from these new higher order specialized functions, or maybe how different AIs learn to work together in these complex systems.
It certainly forces us to think about that split, doesn't it? Is there some ultimate cognitive ceiling where smarter just becomes faster and cheaper? Or could we keep discovering entirely new, maybe endlessly expanding types of cognitive primitives, higher order ways of thinking? Both paths have huge implications for how we design AI and definitely how we end up interacting with it.
Right. So let's just quickly recap this whole deep dive then. It's been pretty mind-bending. We've explored this concept of the intelligence optimum, this theoretical point where AI masters all the basic cognitive building blocks, the primitives. And beyond that point, qualitative improvements kind of tail off. The key things to take away seem to be first, this potential shift from purely qualitative AI gains towards speed and efficiency. Second, the idea that we might see these complex ecosystems of specialized AIs emerge rather than just one superbrain. And third, that fascinating parallel with human intelligence, where beyond a certain point, speed and efficiency become the main differentiators too.
Exactly. And maybe the thought to leave everyone with is this, considering that split we just talked about. Whether there is an ultimate ceiling where smarter just equals faster and cheaper, or if new higher order primitives could mean intelligence keeps expanding in new ways, how do you think our daily lives, our interactions with AI might change most dramatically just in the next, say, 10 years because of this?
That's definitely something powerful to chew on as you go about your day. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes.
Keep exploring these ideas, keep questioning, and we'll see you next time.